everyone, and welcome back to Just Dara. This is season 5, episode 5. And today I have a special guest to talk about advice and stuff, with everything, like, just kind of like in our lives and stuff. This guest actually has been on the podcast twice before, so this is their third time coming on, which was in season 1 when talking about Black Lives Matter, and then in season 2 talking about stopping Asian hate. So I'm really glad that Isabel has agreed to join me again. So yeah.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Okay, so also Isabel and I are actually in person right now, like not like on Zoom or anything recording, but we're outside. So like if there's like any like super bad wind noise, I apologize in advance.
Ignore.
Yeah. But anyways, so we're talking about like advice from like with school, friends, extracurriculars, like everything, kind of like mostly like high school focused. But yeah, so to start us off, we're just gonna talk about like, because we're both juniors now in high school, so freshman year and then sophomore year and then of course junior year. I feel like for freshman year we were both online the whole time, right?
So it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I tell people, I can't really give you advice for freshman year.
Honestly, same.
There was literally
There's
nothing.
Like, it wasn't anything strenuous, and for us anyways, and so I don't know, like, I feel like I wouldn't know how it really was, and I also wouldn't fully be able to give the whole like switching from middle school to freshman year.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like I would have to say sophomore year,
Yeah.
I guess, was like
The
our
real
freshman
switch.
year.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like in freshman year there's, because like we both said, like I feel like it wasn't anything that was like super hard of a switch for us because we were online for the whole time. I know that some people did go in person, but both of us didn't. I feel like what I will say about freshman year is, I'm just gonna say like that you should, because even though we were online we still experienced this, but like you should try to keep like the friends that like you had in middle school, because like I feel like we're not like you always have to keep them if like it doesn't work for you, but like, you know, it's good to like also venture out. But I think what makes it easier to like make new friends is when you're like
With other people.
When you're like making friends with other people and like together, because then it's like it's not just you one-on-one going talking to someone. So that's what I mean about that, kind of like combining groups, and like your middle school people like are going like, you know what I mean, like or like even like one other person like is walking up to someone to go and talk to them instead of just like you one-on-one. I feel like it makes it a lot easier. And I say like the whole like, because obviously like, you know, if you're going to a school where like not everyone else is going with you and like they're going to other high schools, it kind of makes it harder to stay friends with those people. And I know for me, like, I'm friends with those people, but we're not like as close as we were in middle school. But I mean, like, it's honestly okay, because it's not like anything bad happened. It's just like obviously there's distance because like we don't go to the same school anymore, and a lot of things like in our lives aren't necessarily the same, so it makes it harder to like, I guess, talk to each other as often. But I feel like if you still like put in like a little bit of effort, like I feel like it can go a while away. Well, that's if you like, obviously, like if you still want to keep them in your lives, that is, because I mean, if you don't, then
don't.
Yeah, then don't. But
yeah, like I feel like we would generally advise you to keep your middle school friends. Like obviously it's a case by case basis, but I feel like try not to get in that mindset of like, you know, middle school, high school, new me, you know, because you're still going to be with a lot of the same people. So it's good to keep those people and then later branch out. So it's also okay to lose friends as well, as long as you don't, I guess, as long as you still try to make an effort to preserve the friendship.
Yeah, I agree. And then I think like another thing is, so like for us, I don't know if this happened as much with people from your middle school, is because we didn't go to the same middle school, but like for me, of like the IB program that we're doing in our school from like my middle school, they're really, of my friends anyways, there are very few friends from my middle school who came to the same program. But I had like a couple of friends like outside of the program who still go to the same school, but like it's kind of like we're at different schools because we don't have any classes together and we rarely see each other, like maybe just like class change, and if that, and I guess like games and stuff like at school. But like, how would you say, like, are there a lot of people from your middle school who like aren't in IB?
Honestly, most of them went to the other school that they're districted for. But I would say it is pretty hard, honestly, to maintain those friendships if you're not seeing them a lot, which sounds bad. But I mean, I know you have like a couple friends that you still see often, and then you try to keep in contact. So I think it like depends depends. Like, it really is case by case.
Yeah. And I think that kind of goes with the effort thing, because, like, one friend especially, like, well, I mean, I can call her out because we have the other podcast together. So, yeah. Okay, so Janae from the Commentary podcast, if you guys know what I'm talking about, which maybe we'll start back soon. Who knows? Anyways, so we're not in the same program, but, like, we're still pretty good friends. And I feel like that's because, like, both of us have, like, put in effort to, like, maintain that friendship. Mm-hmm. But, like, yeah, it honestly kind of just, yeah, like she said, it depends on, like, case by case. I guess we can touch more on, like, sophomore year now, though.
And then also with, like, more straying away from friendships and to, like, school and stuff, I would definitely say as a freshman, what you should do is join a lot of clubs. I think this is really general advice. Like, most people will tell you this, but I think it's really important to actually stick to it, because as a 14-year-old, you have no idea what you want to do in life. So it's really good to just test the waters and see what you can do. And I know, like, for both of us, speaking from experience, like, as club leaders or whatever, you really like club officers really love to see younger active members. Like, they honestly love that a lot. So if you can get in their good favor, even just by participating a little, it can really help your chances of, like, next year with other future roles.
Yeah, I agree for sure. Especially because, like, when you join as a freshman, it shows that you're not just joining for, like, the college applications real quickly, but also, like, interest. Because a lot of times what happens is that, like, juniors and seniors will start, like, piling on clubs their junior and senior year. And then it's, like, it's really just for, like, college apps and stuff. And it's not really because, like, I mean, I guess, like, obviously they chose it because they're interested.
It's not genuine.
But it's not genuine. And I feel like, I think for both of us, the clubs that were, like, officers in, I feel like we've been in them for a while, right? And so, yeah, and I feel like that made it easier for us to gain these roles, like, our junior year or even our sophomore year. And, yeah, I think it does show that you actually care about whatever it is that you're going into. But I also think it's important to note that, like, you shouldn't just join clubs that you feel like would look good on college applications. Like, honestly, join what you're interested in. Because, like, I mean, we haven't started our application process yet, but I'm sure I can say, like, you know, colleges want to see what you're interested in. They want to see what you have a passion for, and not just things that you feel like would look good. And I feel like that even aligns with, like, different, like, summer programs that you may apply to. Like, they want to see what you're passionate about. Because I know for me, like, the clubs that I'm like, mostly in and stuff, they're not all academically focused clubs. Like, some of them are, like, cultural clubs or, like, you know, like, different things like that. So it kind of just helps to also, like, I guess, broaden, experiment and, like, see, like, a different, like, experience different things, basically.
Yeah, because, like, passion, honestly, is something I feel like a lot of colleges want to see, because it's going to shine through in your application. And just when you're talking about it, like, if you light up when you're talking about something, they will see that even through your writing. So I think it's important to pursue what you're genuinely interested in. And early on.
I agree. But, yeah, so then, like, with sophomore year, though, I feel like sophomore year, like I said, I feel like that was, like, the real switch. Because before sophomore year, like, throughout, like, I guess, elementary and, like, middle school, I feel like I didn't really study for that much stuff. And I kind of just, like, it kind of just, like, came easy. And I kind of just, like, cruised by, right, without really having to, like, put that much effort in. But, like, sophomore year, I guess I was still trying to do that, which was really dumb, because
it gets worse.
Yeah, it gets worse. And, like, it hit me. And I was like, whoa. And, like, I had, like, a B in my math class. And that was when I really realized, like, okay, Dara, like, you can't just, like, try to cruise by and, like, do this anymore. And obviously, like, that's kind of tainted, like, well, yeah, it's tainted my GPA now. So, but anyways, I think I can still get that up later on. But, like, yeah, and even though that was just, like, one class, it's affected that, which kind of sucks, right? Because I feel like I didn't even really think about it in the moment, like, oh, this is gonna, like, actually affect things. I kind of was just still, like, thinking, oh, like, it'll come up eventually, but, like, it didn't. And, well, it did, I guess, from what it was before, but, like, not to where I would have wanted it to be, per se. But, I think, honestly, I'm gonna say, like, especially if you're listening to this and you're not necessarily, like, in high school yet, or if you're, like, a freshman in high school, like, start studying now. Even things that you feel like, oh, I don't really need to study for, like, just study.
Because it's building good habits.
Exactly. And it's gonna help you to, like, get used to it and get into that habit so that you don't lose out of it. Because if you just start studying when you feel like, oh, now I need to, you may not really know how to study, and then it's not going to be as productive as it would be if you've been studying since, and for every class, honestly. So.
And I think it's also important to, like, even before maybe you enter freshman year, or just at some point early on, it's good to reflect on yourself. Like for me, it's like reflecting on your strengths and your weaknesses academically, and just being real with yourself. Like, oh, am I strong in this subject? Am I weaker in this subject? Then, oh, I need to allot more time to study and prepare for this exam. And also think about like yourself realistically. Like, oh, am I a good person at managing my time? If you're not, then you need to be aware of that and give yourself more time to do things because you are a little slower at certain things like that. So I think it's really important to reflect. Like, I feel like our school has really emphasized that recently, especially with the IB program, but just in general, I think reflection is really important. So I would make sure to do that maybe when you're entering your next exam or next year, whatever.
I agree. And I think also taking the time to reflect after an exam too, like, oh, like, how do you think you did? And then, like, maybe, like, after you take it, how you feel like you did, and how, like, the things that you didn't know and how you could better prepare for that in the future. And then once you actually get the score, and also reflect on that. I think those are really good tips to have as well, like, just to use so that you know how to better yourself in the future, and so that you can actually, like, improve and actually make change. Because I think after, like, that math class my first semester of sophomore year, that, like, really was a wake-up call, because I was like, wow, like, that's because I was really struggling. And the crazy thing, it was like, so at the time we only had 4 classes each semester, and the rest of my classes weren't really anything like too strenuous, but it was just like my math class that was giving me like so much stress throughout the whole semester. And so, like, because of that, I was like, okay, like, this new semester my classes, it was still, again, just like, oh, one class that I felt like, oh, this one class may give me a little bit of like a heartache, which was like chemistry. And
my gosh, I had chemistry because you had it second semester, right? I had it first semester. That was the reason I was crying every semester. It was so bad.
It was really bad. And so I was like, I can't let the same thing happen in chemistry that that happened in math. So, like, that semester is honestly when I actually learned how to study for like the first time, and it worked out. Like, in the end, like, I did a lot better than I would have done if I, like, had just tried to cruise by like I did in math. So I wish I'd learned those skills earlier, because I know that if I did, my math grade would have been a lot better, and I wouldn't have had as much stress probably. Because honestly, in chemistry, like, also I feel like it's also because of the teacher, but like I feel like with the teacher I had, like, he was a really good teacher, and like I didn't stress as much as I did in math, because I don't want to like be like, oh, it's not my fault. Like, math was my fault because I could have done better, but some things do just truthfully kind of have to deal with the teacher. So yeah.
Wait,
anyways,
math or chemistry?
Math. Like,
really?
I feel like, yes, I feel like I would have been better if my teacher was a little bit more hands-on.
Oh,
yeah,
that's kind of interesting, because I feel like I had a different experience with math, but I think it's also like it depends on, I guess, your experiences with the teacher and how you approach things.
Yeah,
so
and I don't think we had the same teacher, did we?
Oh wait, you have?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
we didn't have the same teacher,
never
so
mind.
yeah.
I was really confused.
I was like, yeah, I know that whichever teacher that Isabel had, I know I wanted that teacher, because I know that teacher's an amazing teacher. Like, my sister had her before too, and it was like, yeah, like that. I know, I feel like it would have been a lot better,
okay.
but I didn't have that
really
teacher.
Confused at first.
Yeah,
okay.
Because I've only heard good things about that teacher, but like everyone in my class was like, our teacher was not a very good.
Yeah, that's unfortunate
teacher.
then.
Yeah. So, but I also think, like I said, I do take accountability, because I could have probably, like, I went to tutoring and stuff, but like I probably could have gone more, or like asked more questions in class, or yeah, I could have. There's other things that I could have done from the beginning, because I feel like I started doing those things when it was like kind of too late, like when it was like October, like when I really should have been doing it like since August. So honestly, yeah, like, if you're gonna go to tutoring and stuff, and like do it like since August, also build a good relationship with your teacher, because the truth is, I mean, granted, I will say this is I don't know how to say this, but like, I feel like I didn't have the best relationship with her. It was kind of just like very basic, like, oh, this is my student, this is my teacher, and it wasn't like as like close of a relationship as I feel like I've had with other teachers. And I think that kind of played a part too, because obviously, you know, like, if you're closer with teachers, they're more likely to like give you extra credit, but like, because we weren't really that close, she said no, which I'm still kind of sour about, but that's okay. So
yeah, I would agree, because like you said, Dara mentioned asking questions, and I think that's super important, especially when you're entering, you know, high school. I think we need to make this like cool again. It's cool to participate in class, guys. Like, asking questions. I wouldn't say bombard your teacher with questions, especially if they're dumb, because each teacher has like a different question tolerance, but I would say try, if you're asking questions and you're actively engaged, a lot of your teachers will notice that and they'll like you more for it.
Yeah.
And just building those relationships is super important, because I know that sometimes like I've turned in an assignment late or I forgot to do it or whatever, but because I have that good relationship with the teacher, they can let me like slip by that one time. So I think it's important to have that, build that good reputation for yourself.
Yeah. And I think with the question thing, I know sometimes a lot of people are like, oh, they're maybe like too shy to ask questions in front of other people. But I think a thing that needs to also be, I guess, normalized is that like you can like stay after class and ask your teacher questions if you don't want to ask in front of everyone. Like I've done that before. If I don't necessarily want to ask in front of everyone, or just like find another time to ask them if you don't want to do it like in front of all your classmates. And like Isabel was saying with the reputation thing, I think part of the participating in class and asking questions along with the reputation thing also goes with like making sure that like you turn in your assignments on time though. That way they see like, okay, like this student is trying and stuff, so that if there does come a time later on where you can't turn it in on time,
it's
they'll
like
they'll be like, oh, okay, that's fine, like I know something's actually going on because this isn't like a normal thing with you.
Exactly.
And it's like just like this one time thing, or even if it's like 2 times, and because they understand. So like I've also been able to do that before, because like they know that it's not like a normal like pattern where it's like I'm always turning in things late, and they'll let me slide like those few times or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think having a good reputation with your teacher is really good, and honestly trying to like and something else I'll say, like I know this doesn't go for everyone, but I feel like I found that this has helped me with math this year, which like I don't do it that much, which I actually need to start doing it more. But honestly, like because always before I was like, oh, I'll only go to math tutoring like if I have a specific question or something. But like sometimes you may not have a question, right? And maybe you have like an assignment. But I feel like what I found really helpful is honestly just going to your teacher's math tutoring time and just sitting there and doing your homework, and then as questions come up, they're right there, and you can just ask them while they're there. Because like I did that with like this last chapter that we had in our math class, and I would just like sit in her room and like do my work and ask her questions I needed, and that really, really helped me out on the test, because like she like explained it so clearly. Because I think just honestly having questions to ask, and then like I said, like if you don't have questions to ask, that's okay, but like maybe trying to go and be around them more too. Like if those questions come up, you can ask them right then. Because like let's say I just went home immediately and I was doing the work at home and I had those questions, I would have been like trying to scour like the internet or like YouTube or something, or maybe like waiting on an email response, whereas I could just ask her in person, which made it a lot better and significantly helped. So I think it's important to try to build those connections that way too.
Yeah, I would say for me also, like this is something that a strategy I've used just for math, but my teacher gives us like guided notes sort of, so, and they're really great. But what I do before a big unit test is I'll usually create like a study guide for myself where I write down the concepts and then the steps and how to solve the particular math problem, because that can actually really help you when you're studying for the test. And although I will say it does really promote memorization versus understanding of the concepts,
memorization helps too, my
yeah
opinion.
You know, like it's helped me with the class, so I can't even say anything. Oh, also another thing I will bring up is before you enter high school, learn how to write a good email, like a respectful email, because I remember freshman year, also because it was online and COVID and everything, I was the worst emailer. Like I was so mean. It wasn't even like I was trying to be mean. I just had no self-awareness. Like I'd be like, hello, blah, 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 blah. Please get back to me when you can. Or not even please or thank you. Always make sure to start with like, well, this is how I will start mine. I'll be like, hi, insert teacher name. I hope your day is going well.
Oh, yeah.
And then be like, oh, I was wondering if I could ask you this. And then always sign off, even because I know sometimes you'll see on TikTok in colleges, they're like, oh, teachers just want it to be quick and simple. But at least for high school teachers, they want you to be respectful of their time and be nice. So be like, thank you. Just respond to me when you get the chance. Thank you so much. Like really reel in on the thank yous. That's at least for me.
That's actually really funny that you say that, because I was just talking with Janae actually, but like a few days ago with one of my friends about how like in freshman year there's this teacher who I realized, like, because I was going back through like my old emails because I think I was trying to find something and I came across it and I reread like my email and I was like, oh my gosh, I was really rude. Like
exactly.
I was like no wonder they responded the way they did, because I remember at that time I was like, why are you being mean?
So
and I was like,
rude.
they're so mean, and I was like I don't like them anymore because of that. But I think it also has to do with the online thing, and also I feel like in middle school we didn't really send emails that much. If I'm being honest, I feel like we didn't. And so like it was just like the way I said it. Like what I was saying was accurate, but like it was just the way I said it. Like honestly, I'm gonna expose myself here. So it was like a literature quiz, and it was like I remember this quiz was over like a book that we had read, and I thought I did so well on that quiz. Like I submitted and I was like, ooh, I just got 100. I was like, this is so great, like this is amazing, right? And again, exposing myself here, but it's fine because it was like 2 years ago. But like I got it back, and I think I got like I think I either got like an 80 or like a 70 something. I don't remember. It was something like that, right? And I was like so, because there were only like 10 questions, but I was so confused because I was like, no way, like I literally got 100, like I know every single question, this thing was right. I was like, there's literally no way. And then like I emailed them. I didn't even say like, oh, can I see what I missed? Instead I said, can you check it again? Because I was like, I'm so sure that I got everything right. And they didn't respond, of course. And so then after that, when it was time, it was a few days, and I was like, why haven't they responded? So I was like, oh, I'm going to send a follow-up. And instead of sending a follow-up by saying, oh, I'm following up on the email below or above, whatever, I just like forwarded the email again. Like I did not, like, I just sent the email again. And the thing is, the thing is, it actually ended up being that like, the email I forwarded again, like something glitched, and so like it was just like a blank email that I had sent, right? And she responded, and she was like, oh, like that's me, was there supposed to be like an email here? And I was like, oh, I was actually just like I actually just like resent the last email. Well, the thing is, I could have lied and been like, oh, I was following up, but I didn't even think about it. Like it wasn't even like I was aware of the fact that you don't just resend an email. And so she gave me like a lesson, bro, and she was like,
she told like, you off.
She was like, when you're following up on emails, you don't just resend the email. You're supposed to say like, oh, like I'm following up on blah blah. And then she was like, and I'm not going to take the time to check again a quiz that I already graded once and blah blah blah. And I was like, girl, and I was so like mad, right? But when I reread it, I was like, well, that's me. You were pretty rude. Why would you tell her, can you check it again? Like you could have just been like, can I see the questions I missed? And it turns out I did miss those questions. Whatever. I think it was misinterpretation though. I interpreted the questions as different things, so... Okay,
but you ended up getting her award, I remember.
I did, so, actually, yeah.
But, I guess it worked out in the end.
I guess it did work out in the end, I guess. But still, I remember... Because that's actually where the conversation stemmed from with that friend, was like... Because that friend had her last year, and she didn't really like her as much. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, I love her so much. I was like, she's so amazing. But I was thinking back on it, and I was like... Especially because when I found that email, I was like, wait... I think when I had her class, I don't think I really liked her like that. I think it was just the fact that I got the award, and that's why I was like, oh, I like her now. Yeah.
Image. Yeah.
But actually, I remember, I don't think I liked her. I liked her class, but not her.
Oh.
So,
yeah. Let's hope she's not listening.
Okay, I feel like she wouldn't, because she doesn't know about it, and how would she find it? So
we're fine. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. She doesn't work in school anymore, so it's fine.
Exactly.
Okay, but yeah.
Next topic.
We went
like a lot.
Yeah, we kind of did go off.
Well, it was still focused on the general thing, though, so I think it's fine.
Yeah, the email stuff, and so I guess that was sophomore year. I guess junior year now, which we're still going through, but...
Okay, junior year, I think this may also... I feel like in general, this is a pattern. Although specific stuff, it may be, more related to our school. But junior year, I feel like, is the worst year for me. Senior year, fall semester will probably also be really bad. Yeah. But at least for our school, the way it's set up and how, like, we have, like, with IB, like, a lot of essays and papers. We start working on them second semester junior year. And that can get really stressful, especially when you factor in, like, standardized testing, like SAT, ACT, and then you're also applying to summer programs. So I would say you really need to, I would honestly suggest that for the SAT and things like that, you start studying, not even the summer before junior year, the summer before sophomore year, and then get it knocked out with junior year first semester. I feel like that is honestly ideal.
Yeah, I agree. I know that I think, like, I feel like because like with IB, it's just 2 years, right? And so freshman and sophomore year, we had like pre-IB. But because
it's like honored.
Yeah. And so because like IB actually starting this year, I feel like it kind of clicked into where it's like, I mean, tell me like if you agree, but I feel like nothing has been like hard per se. I just feel like it's a lot. Yeah. Like it's not like, oh, like it's so hard, it's just a lot. And because it's so much, it becomes hard to where it's like you're having like sleepless nights and like you're super stressed and you're staying up late and things like that. Whereas before it wasn't that much work, and maybe, I mean, I guess I'm speaking for my math class in sophomore year. I feel like math was actually very hard for me in sophomore year. But like the work wasn't a lot, it was just hard. Yeah. Whereas now it's like math is easy, but it's, well, I mean, it's not, math isn't a lot, but speaking generally, like in general, everything is a lot, but it's nothing like hard. It's just a lot. And then I feel like, yeah, like with what Isabel was saying, like second semester has really like hit us hard, and it's so bad, honestly, because like second semester just like it came, and like
actually the worst.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, and now right now as we're recording this, we're going on our spring break. And, like, it's nice to have this break, but, like, we have stuff
so
to do.
Much
like,
work. It's actually really bad.
And, like, we have to work on, like, our extended essay, which is, like, it's 4,000 word paper, and we have to have, like, 2,000 words by May. And it's just, like, it's a lot, and it's clicking in, and it's like, oh, my gosh. And then we have, like, our history, like, our IAs for that, which is, like, our internal assessment, which is also an essay, which isn't as long.
It's, like, 2,000, 15,000
Yeah,
words.
so that's not as long, but it's still kind of, like...
a lot.
It's a lot, and it's just, like, oh, my gosh, like, this is really getting real. So I know for sure that I feel like... Because, like how she said, like, everyone says junior year is the hardest, but I feel like speaking personally to, like, IB, I believe second semester junior year and first semester senior year are the hardest.
That is going to be your worst.
Yeah, because those correlate kind of into, like, 1 year. Because then in first semester senior year, we'll have our other IAs starting in our other classes. We have to do it in every class. And then, like,
college
applications. And it's just a lot. Because even, like, now, like, we have all this stuff, but we really only have one IA we're working on. And then our EE. And then we also have, like, our first, like, real IB exam in May with our foreign languages, right? But, like, I think I'm honestly dreading first semester senior year, because I know it's gonna be bad. But, like, you know, like, I feel like it'll be worth it in the end, honestly. And I also think another thing, though, this is what I was gonna say. I wish I knew this, but in regards to, like, summer programs, because really the opportunities stop, like, your summer before your senior year are really, like, the last chance for summer programs. Try to start applying, honestly, I would say summer before sophomore year.
And even, like, some programs except freshmen, but most except, like, high school sophomores and juniors. But for us, it was different because COVID as well.
I think that played a part for sure. And it's funny because, like, I didn't even think about it, but last summer would have been so ideal to, like, have summer programs to go to. Because this summer, like, we still have to work on our EE, and we have, like, other, like, summer reading for our literature class too. And that's a lot if we also want to go to summer programs. So it's kind of just, it becomes too much, right? And then...
also, like, you want to start working on your college essays.
Exactly. And you want to, like, start planning for other stuff and, like, you know, and, like, figuring out, like, what you really want to, like, do later on. And I just feel like it would have been better if I thought about it last year, but I didn't, like, I don't even think it, like, came to my mind at all. Like, I know I applied for one after freshman year, actually.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, but like, that was one that I was telling you that, like, it ended up costing, like, a lot of money, and I didn't realize that I, like, so, like, I got in, and then they're like, oh, like, deposit fee. And I was like, oh, you need deposit? Yes. And I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. So I just kind of wasted my time on the application, but that's okay, because I guess I can still say I got in, even though I didn't do it.
But this is, like, a note too. I would say, at least for if you have money, sure, maybe you can spend. If you will get skills from that, like, you'll learn Python or JavaScript from attending that summer program. Sure, pay some money for it. But I think realistically, you shouldn't be paying money to go to a summer program.
You definitely shouldn't.
Like, there's so many free summer programs available. I would say sophomore, junior, whatever. Look up those programs. Like, scour the internet and you will find them.
And then I also did one after sophomore year. I'm not sure if this really counts. It was more like a workshop type of thing. But it was, like, virtual, because, like, they used to have it in person, because of COVID, it went virtual, so it wasn't really the same experience. But I mean, I guess that was sort of one, because, like, I did have to apply for it, but, like, I feel like it still wasn't really, like, programming. Like, it was, like, workshop type, but it was still, like, really cool, honestly. Like, it was a really good program, though. Or I guess workshop, whatever. Like, it was really good. But, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think, like, you should really be paying for them, honestly. I think you should really try to scour and, like, look for, like, free ones. There are a lot of, like, general ones. And then also, like, if you already, like, know what you want to do later on, like, after high school, there are also ones that are specific to, like, maybe, like, the career path that you want to go down. So I feel like those are good, too. And try to, like, do stuff that, that's, like, also specific to your career path. Because then, like, you'll gain experience and, like, you'll be able to, like, meet other people who, like, are also, like, that have that same mindset as you. And I think, honestly, it's really good to surround yourself around people who, like,
like-minded
who are like-minded people. And that kind of goes in, like, with the friend stuff, just so that, like, because I feel like when, especially in high school, I feel like it gets to a point where, like, there may be times where, like obviously people have different, like, focuses and stuff, right?
And that's perfect,
and that's fine. But I feel like sometimes when it comes down to certain things, like, maybe something that, like, you need to focus on this and they don't really understand, and they may, like, maybe, like, treat you differently for it, it kind of just ends up, like, affecting the friendship, I feel. And so I feel like you should just kind of like think about that and like make sure that you can still have those friends but also have people who are like-minded and who have the same like or similar focuses as you, so that you're not like just so like it doesn't cause any issues down the road. I feel like that
I would say like also don't bank on sticking with one friend group, just because I think it's also important to surround yourself with lots of different people, and because you may not know everything about certain friends until after you've spent longer times with them. And so it's just really important to, because when you're around people who have the same goals as you and motivations, you guys push yourself to be better.
Exactly.
It's like when you are with people who care about, like, let's say academics, you end up caring more about academics, and that really helps you. So, and this is the same thing with like relationships and stuff. Being around people who will push you to be a better person.
Yeah, I think that's so true. Honestly, like, being around people who aren't just like encourage you to like stay where you are, but like encouraging you to develop and improve yourself, and pushing you to be a better person in every area. So I think that's a really important thing. And I also think venturing out and trying to find other like friends, and not trying to just stay with like that friend group maybe like from middle school or something. Like you can still be friends with them, but also like be open to the idea of like making new friends and other friends, because I think that will help a lot later on down the road. But the summer program thing, for sure, I feel like I definitely encourage you, like, start applying now, because like, and just start looking at summer, even planning out, even if you can't apply, maybe like you're a freshman, you can't apply as a freshman, but save it for when you're a sophomore, or maybe like see, because I think a lot of times these things, the applications are open, you can see what the application entails, and maybe even start working on it in advance.
I would say this, a lot of summer program applications, it depends, but most of them will open like November, December. And especially if you're like a junior, I would say you want to start on those early, like during your Thanksgiving and Christmas breaks. So then second semester, you're not freaking out about applying. Also, one more thing. Community service, I know people talk a lot about with like college and whatnot, but I would honestly say you do not need even 100 plus, 1,000 plus, 500 plus community service hours. It's really about quality versus quantity. Because how are the colleges going to check to see you've confirmed and done every single thing?
That's
you know?
True.
So like I would say focus on quality and starting initiative versus trying to volunteer every day, which is good, but it's not going to make you stand out, in my opinion.
I think initiative is a big thing too.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that like if you're organizing an event and you're planning it and you're the one like executing like these things and it's like your idea, like I think that's a huge thing for sure, because they're gonna see like, oh, okay, they actually care about this because they're going to go and do it. And it could be something like like just like if you really care about like animals and stuff, and like starting something with like with like an animal shelter, something like that. I think that shows passion, again, with what we were talking about earlier about like showing that you're passionate about things. And I feel like that's really good. Okay, I guess the next part, so that was like, okay, what else in like junior year? I feel like
junior year,
I don't know, but I will say though, I think the SAT and ICT thing, I'm honestly gonna say, because I know you're supposed to try to like get that knocked out first semester junior year, which for sure, like, because I would say I feel like latest you should try to then, because it just helps to relieve stress from like the other parts of your life. But honestly, I would say as early as you can take it. Like, I actually wish that I was thinking about this in freshman year, and I honestly kind of wish that I like went out and took it freshman year, because freshman year I didn't have any stress. I didn't really have any work. Like, I would have had lots of time to study for the SAT or ACT, and because like we were online, like I really had nothing, right? And if I had studied then, because the thing is, it's not like colleges are like, oh, we're only gonna accept like the SAT from later on, right? Like it's from whenever you take it. So like if I maybe tried to take it like first semester sophomore year, or even second semester freshman year, because I had all that time, that would have helped significantly right now, because right now I still have to take it again, and I'm which I really
I feel like, are you taking
really
the May one?
So no, I can't, because I don't have time to study for it. I don't want to do it again to where, like, because my mistake was last semester, like, I didn't really have time to study for it, right? And so I didn't really study, and it was just kind of a waste, because I didn't I didn't really put in that much effort, and then, like, my score wasn't, like, that good, right? But, like, and I don't want to make a mistake again to where, like, I just take it to, like, get out the way and I don't do well, because then there's no point. So sucks, but like I feel like what I'm gonna do is try to use the summer and then take it in August, but I feel like that's so late, you know what I mean?
But I know what you mean. I was honestly thinking about that too, and I feel like that's your best bet. But I think you'll have the time, so I wouldn't worry too much.
I mean, another good thing is though, like, I'm definitely not banking on this, because I still want to have a score that I can send in just in case. But like with all the colleges that like I do want to apply to,
most are test optional.
And there's only one that's not test optional, and even that one, if I'm being honest, like it's kind of just on my list. It's not like it's not like a serious thing. So I feel like that helps, but don't bank on that. Like still have it just in case.
I would say like a lot of schools are test optional, but if you can get a good score, obviously it can only help you.
Yeah, it will only help.
Especially if you're like weaker in other areas of your application. Like I know for me, I haven't really gotten a lot of like national or state awards. So from what I've heard, and I don't know how true this is, like if you go test optional, from what I've heard, they will look at the rest of your application more like harshly, just because they don't have those test scores to see it. But it's like, also, I know, like, everything we've been saying, this is probably the opposite advice, but, like, don't put too much pressure on yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think also, like, well, it depends on your, like, what's the word? Like, how much you can take, you know? So if you thrive under pressure, then, I mean, I guess put pressure on yourself, but I don't even take this advice. Why am I giving this advice?
I know what you mean. I feel like, to an extent, I thrive under pressure in the sense that I feel like
it makes you do it.
Yeah, it makes me do it, but at the same time, I'm stressed and I'm like crying. So what's the point of that when I could like do it earlier? Like I feel like like I'm gonna get it done in the end, but it's like the stress.
Under what cost?
Yeah, like the stress. I don't know if the stress is worth it. So
no,
it's like
I was saying that because for like this is a project we had to do, the lit project. I stayed up all night doing it, and I was like, imagine if I just didn't get the grade I wanted, then what would have happened? You know, like so things like that. I mean, I got lucky in that regard, but I don't know. I don't even know. I can't even give advice to people on this.
I don't know. I will also say, though, take everything we're saying with a grain of salt. Because it depends on your own situation. So don't be like, like, they sent you this, like...
Isabel, Dara, they said that I need to take the SAT.
Like, no, just take everything with a grain of salt. Like, this is what we feel like would have helped us in the past.
Oh, we should have put a disclaimer.
I'm going to put it in the description, bro. Take everything with a grain of salt, please.
These are juniors speaking.
We're not professionals. Like, we haven't even done our own college applications yet. Yeah. But I feel like we both kind of have an idea of, like, what will help and stuff. So yeah. Okay. I guess that was kind of like end of junior year stuff specifically, but okay, like extra. I mean, we kind of touched on extracurriculars already.
We touched on mostly everything, right?
Pretty much touched on IB. Yeah.
You have anything else to add?
Honestly, I'm gonna say stuff about like the friend stuff.
Okay.
So I feel like, it's good to have friends in your life. I think you can thrive off of having like friends and stuff. I also think that because I feel like I don't think I really realized this until this year, but like, like even if you like knew someone in freshman year, maybe like it could be that later on down the road, like you guys become more friends and you're like, oh, like this is actually like a good friend to have or whatever. But like it may not have been like, oh, from the very beginning. So you shouldn't feel like completely like maybe like let's say like you're a freshman or a sophomore, you don't really like maybe have as many friends as like you wish you had or something. Like don't be like down about it, because you could still end up making friends like later on down the road. And like you're gonna be in high school with these people for like 4 years, and so like obviously like like and things are gonna change. Maybe you may like lose some other friends because like you're not as close anymore and stuff like that. And I feel like what I'm gonna say is how do I say this, like try to encourage yourself to be okay with like not being as close to people anymore, I guess, if that makes sense. Because I feel like I know for me, like before, I've always like been like, if something happens, I'm always like, oh, like I want to know why, I'm wondering why, etc. But like it's honestly okay to just be like, okay, like I'm gonna be fine about it, and you're just gonna like, and it's like okay for you to like move on from that. So
yeah, I agree. I feel like also this is advice that I recently heard, but I feel like I've carried on with it since middle school. But your best friend has another best friend. So I feel like be careful with what you say to people. Because honestly, what I've done, I'm lucky in that I have like my mom to talk to about my problems. But even if you don't have that person to reach out to that you know is going to be there for you, I would say journal, find an outlet where you're not, like, don't tell everybody your business. Yeah. Unless you're okay with 3 other people knowing honestly, about your business.
That's actually so real. And that's also funny because this morning, like, this morning I was kind of catching my mom up on, like, everything because, like, I haven't really talked to her that much recently. And so I was catching her up on, like, a lot of things for, like, a couple hours. And that was part of it, too. Like, I realized because, especially, like, let's say you have a friend, right? And that friend obviously has other close friends, and maybe that friend tells you something from that close friend, and you may be thinking, like, why did they tell me that? Like, are you telling them the stuff I tell you? Because then, like, I feel like you may realize, like, maybe you should try to keep some stuff to yourself, you know? Because if they can tell you what that something that happened to another friend, they're probably telling that friend what you've said too. So you kind of just need to make sure that like you're
being careful with
being
what
aware
you say.
and being aware of the people who you're around. And like she said, like if you don't have like maybe like a family member or honestly like I guess a friend that you really really wholeheartedly trust, journaling and stuff like that can help significantly.
Yeah, I would say that too. And then what else?
Wait, one last thing I want to say is like tips for like combating stress.
Oh, okay.
I feel like for me, listening to music honestly like actually really really helps me, like because like I can be like super like down the dumps, like stressed over school or other stuff or maybe like stuff with friends, but then like I start listening to music and I'm like, whoa, now I feel like 10 times better. Like,
yeah.
And like I know like people say that and like you may be like, oh, it doesn't really work. Like I guess also depends on the person, but I feel like for me like it just really honestly really helps, because like that's actually why I said like this season I plan on doing like a music recs episode,
I was
honestly.
actually gonna suggest
yeah,
that for
like I feel like I want to do that
sense.
because like music just really
like makes your day.
It really makes my day. Like honestly, music can make or break my day, and I feel like like I feel like I have such a connection with music. So yeah, like listen to music if you feel like that will help for you, and also writing also helps me.
Yeah, for me it's stretching. I used to not be, I'm not really being consistent anymore, but at one point I was stretching every day, like just for 10 minutes a day. And not only is it really good for your body, but you're giving yourself that time away from your screen and just being like peaceful with yourself. So I would say stretching and exercising.
Yeah.
Like I like to play tennis a lot, so I definitely do that when I need to go outside, get my vitamin D. Is it D?
Yeah.
Vitamin D. So that's what I will do. So I would say stretching, exercising. Those are two of my main things.
Yeah, I agree. I know a lot of people have said like, oh, like doing yoga and stuff like that will help to relieve stress, and I think that's honestly really true. So yeah, trying to like just find those avenues that work for you, of helping you relieve that stress and like helping you to just like feel better, because like you don't want to overwork yourself. Like everything what you're saying is really like academically focused, but like do not overwork yourself. Like you need to still take care of yourself. But I know I did an episode about this before, but it's like you can't do your work if you're not like mentally like there, you know what I mean? If you're not like mentally okay and like actually like doing that like self-care, you won't be able to carry out your work like in the best way that it could be carried out if you were really okay. So it's important to take care of yourself and like to honestly like just like I am gonna say actually prioritize your mental health, prioritize like your self-care, and then everything else I feel like will follow. So
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. This was a pretty long episode, but like I think this episode was good. It was fun.
Yeah, I know. Like I was coming up with stuff that I hadn't thought about. I told you that.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Make sure to like, subscribe, follow,
everything.
Rate.
Yes, for sure. Thank you. Yes, rate the episode. No, rate the podcast.
I already wrote it.
Oh.
Like I actually did. I'm being serious.
Thanks. But yeah. Okay, so thank you guys so much for listening, and that's the gist. Bye.
Bye.